This is Duke University.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 8th DukeGEN Startup Showcase. We are very excited to have you here tonight. We have some great teams pitching for you. I'm Megan Drake. I'm one of the organizers for tonight's event, and I'd like to introduce my fellow organizers, Sarah Adam and Alex Gutler. And we are thrilled to be hosting you guys here tonight, and we are especially thrilled to be hosting the event tonight at this year's sponsor, AppNexus. And now I'm going to turn it over to Howie Reed and Reed Lewis, because they have a few words to share with you.
Thank you, Megan. It's so great to be here. My name is Howie Reed. I'm one of the co-founders of DukeGEN, along with Reed Lewis.
Hello.
And I work at Duke University. I'm the managing director.
I don't.
I'm the managing director in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Initiative. It's so great to see you all tonight. Before we begin, we're going to give a little background on DukeGEN. And let me start with a question here. For how many of you is this your first DukeGEN event? How many of you, if this is your first? Okay, great, wow. A lot of you. So this is apropos for us to give you a little bit of background as to what DukeGEN is. And so in 2008, Reed, who I had never met before, flew down and we asked this question: how do you connect Dukies interested in startups? And Reed, do you want to say a little bit more about the idea you were thinking of at the time?
Sure. So I was running a startup company at the time, and I was envious of the networks that my competitors had from Stanford and MIT. And also Harvard. Those schools had networks of alumni like we now have that helped them out at every step of the entrepreneurial process, from ideation to fundraising to recruiting. And so my proposal to Howie and Fuqua professor John Fjeld was that we needed to start a similar network.
So we started DukeGEN, the Duke Global Entrepreneurship Network, and we're all about productive connections, and hopefully you'll make some tonight. And so what did that mean? At the time, we started a LinkedIn group just as an experiment, and we said, maybe we can get some Dukies on board. And since we started in 2008, we've successfully attracted 5,700 Dukies, which makes us the largest university-based entrepreneurship group on LinkedIn and the third largest group at Duke. And so what does that mean for folks?
I was going to say, I was surprised how fast everyone seemed to have an entrepreneur like hiding inside them.
That's right. And so what does that mean for Duke entrepreneurs? Well, one thing it means is that Duke entrepreneurs can tap into the collective wisdom of the crowd. So here, Chandra Levy, who I met tonight for the first time, posed a question 3 years ago asking for advice about domain names. And if you look carefully, you can see that there are 24 comments from other Dukies responding to her. And just scrolling down a little bit, you can see that some of those comments are fairly lengthy. You know, people really took time to respond to her request.
Free advice.
Free advice. And so after that, we copied MIT. MIT was doing an event where on the same night, they would host networking events in multiple cities. So we did that too. Here you see pictures from our first set of events in Atlanta, Durham, and DC. And so since 2008, we've hosted over 150 events with 5,000 Dukies attending in some of the cities listed here. And in fact, this event is part of our 14th round of multiple city networking events, meaning that in these 19 cities, we have networking events running over the past week. And that means that 1,000 Dukies have RSVP'd for these events, including about 230 tonight here.
And you look at the list, you'll see we really are global.
That's right, including Dubai and Mumbai and a few other international cities. So the additional question that came up for DukeGEN was, can you help me find a list of Duke investors? So we put that up online, about 150 Duke investors there. Can you show us stories of Duke entrepreneurs that have been successful? So here are about 40 profiles of Duke alumni that we've profiled and put their stories online, including the founders of Melissa & Doug, Mint.com, and Zico, all Duke entrepreneurs.
We really are customer-driven as entrepreneurs. So if there's something that you need, let us know, and we'll try to do it.
That's right. And so this event that you're attending was first trialed in May 2010 when a Duke alum named Jim Scheinman, an active angel investor, said, we should have Duke startups pitch to Duke investors. So here you see our first event in San Francisco. This is 7 Duke entrepreneurs pitching to 4 Duke angel investors. And from left to right, I'll just identify them. Ryan Spoon was with Polaris Ventures at the time and ran Dogpatch Labs, which is where Instagram spawned. Josh Felser in the plaid shirt is a double Dookie who sold 2 companies, one for $300 million, one for $60 million, and now he's an active investor based out of San Francisco with a venture firm called Freestyle Capital. Aaron Patzer in the red shirt is a Pratt alum, Pratt 2002, and he's the founder of Mint.com, which was sold to Intuit for about $170 million. And Jim Scheinman, who's the person that suggested this idea to us, he was an early employee at Bebo, which sold for $700 or $800 million to News Corp. So these were our angel investors, and this was our Duke crowd, much like tonight. This was 70 people at the time. And it was such a successful event, we said, let's do it again. Let's do it in New York City. So here we are, October 2010, 7 Duke startups pitching to some angel investors, including some Duke angel investors, in front of a crowd at Dogpatch Labs near Union Square. And we did it again in San Francisco, startups, investors, crowd. And so that's what you're here tonight of. This is our 8th startup showcase along those lines. And so here are some ways to get involved.
So, yeah, so if for many of you, you said this is your first event, you have to go to the website. There's a LinkedIn group, that's important, but the website is the really rich set of content, is where we add new things. And I'm emphasizing that because when I meet DukeGEN members, they often say to me, there's a website? Like, yes, that's the place. So definitely be on the LinkedIn group, participate, right? If you have a question, just like Chandra did, post it up there. You're going to get a lot of good input from people who probably have been right where you are, okay? Another thing, and I was mentioning this to folks earlier, judge the startup competition, right? This is a really cool competition that Howie runs with student involvement on campus. Every year there's about 150 teams that write plans, and you can read those plans. You're going to help the students, and you're going to help yourself. You're going to hone your kind of plan writing and entrepreneurial skills. So that's just a start. There's lots more.
That's great. And those opportunities are listed on the back of your program there. So with that, I want to thank our DukeGEN planning committee. Let's give them a round of applause. They've been working on this event.
It really is a lot of work to run an event like this.
That's right. And I'm going to bring up Sunny Cabrawal, who's a Duke alum, to talk about his company. And so before I bring him up, I just want to say 3 things are going to happen tonight. One is you're going to hear from 2 showcase companies, Sunny's company and Yunha's company. Those are companies that are just here to tell you about themselves and kind of announce themselves to a Duke crowd. And you're going to also hear 5 pitches from Duke startups that are trying to compete tonight to a panel that's going to join us up here. They're trying to kind of win the hearts and minds of the panel. And then the third thing that's going to happen is there's an open mic where we have about 4 people who are going to stand up here for a minute each and talk about something that they're working on.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Maybe 2 minutes, depending on how much time they get. And so those are the 3 things you're going to have that are going to happen tonight. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to our first showcase company, Bond, and this is Duke alum Sunny Cabrawal. Let's give him a hand.
Hey guys, so how many of you, we're here to talk about, I think, how Duke's entrepreneurial network can help each other. So I'll talk a little bit about Bond towards the end of it, but really I want to find out first, how many of you are entrepreneurs today? How many of you work at a startup right now? Just show of hands. And how many of you are wanting to get involved in the entrepreneurial community or start a company yourselves? So it's like about 50-50. So I think one of the most helpful things I could do is tell you a little bit about my background and how I ended up as an entrepreneur, because in many ways, the path to become an entrepreneur is different for everyone. And it's always helpful, I found, for me, it's always helpful to hear other people's stories, to shed some light as to a path that I could find for myself. So this is my story. I graduated in 2001, so I'm very, very much beginning to think that I'm now an old man in the world of startups and entrepreneurs. And my story began at Duke, actually, and that's why I feel such an affinity for Duke University, because I was a member of Program 2. which was basically a way in which you could design your own major and your own course of study. And that was the very first step to me to learning how, to what it meant to be an entrepreneur. Because in many ways, when you design, Duke gave a very unique opportunity to let you figure out what is it that you want to study. I actually found out, I think Program 2 is designed for a different kind of very high caliber individual. I actually just wanted to not take foreign languages and science. And so I was able to design a curriculum that studied international business and globalization. And that was the area around that I wanted to study on. And it helped me learn the idea of writing proposals, creating curriculums, and doing things from just an idea, and taking any idea that you have, thinking it all the way through, putting a plan together, presenting it to someone, and having someone approve it, and then executing upon it. After Duke, I went to law school at Georgetown, and my path, I thought, would be to be a corporate lawyer. And actually, in fact, I moved to New York, and I was a corporate lawyer here at a big law firm, like many of my peers. But during the course of time, while I was in school, I started playing music with a band called Thievery Corporation, and seeing things and different kinds of opportunities that I knew spoke to me as an individual. And so I started taking entrepreneurship courses when I was in law school at Georgetown. I wrote my first business plan, and I presented it in a very similar kind of fashion to some Georgetown when I was in graduate school. And I ended up taking that first plan, and it was for a tea company, for a luxury tea company. And so I ended up taking that plan, and I quit my job as a lawyer for all the people who wanted to do a startup, and I self-funded this tea company. I quit my job, and I opened up a tea store. I swear this, actually, I opened up a tea store in New York City, and I created an online component to it. And I remember people would say to me, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Literally, I remember people would laugh in my face because I would be behind a cash register trying to ring up sales for people. And they were like, you went to Duke and you went to Georgetown for law school and you used to make a six-figure salary. Why would you do that? But it's a really powerful lesson for me that there's just no other way than to just go and try to do something. There isn't a shortcut for that. And ever since then, I've been an entrepreneur. After Tavalon, and Tavalon still exists today, I sold a stake in Tavalon, moved to San Francisco, the mecca for entrepreneurs, and started working on a number of projects. I had a brief stint as the first Indian fashion model, which was very unusual for Kenneth Cole. And that actually created a lot of notoriety for me as an individual. It made me a weird B-list celebrity in India. And I'm from North Carolina, just outside of Durham, actually. So I went to India to understand what that was about and what that meant, and I saw a lot of opportunity when I went there. And so I ended up moving to India a few years ago, and I started one of the first e-commerce businesses in India. I started a company called Exclusively In, which is now the largest retailer for Indian fashion. And that was a really interesting process in and of itself. And every time I think you start something, you learn a lot, both about yourself and how things operate. We built that business up to a pretty sizable business. We sold the company. It was acquired in November and by another large Indian retailer. And I moved back to New York with my new family. So a lot of things have changed. I took some time off. And I really thought about what's next. Because as an entrepreneur, once you go down a path, it's very hard to consider, well, how do I go back and work in another company? So I spent 6 months just helping other companies, other startups, advising, investing in a couple of companies here and there. And I thought about, if I want to do something else again, for me, I wanted to give one more time to work on something that was really meaningful to me. Because while an entrepreneurial path can be a really thankless one, it can be very fulfilling when you work on something that matters. So I thought about what matters to me the most. and my relationships matter quite a bit. And I thought, with my experience in e-commerce, how can I help build relationships in a meaningful fashion? For me, the goal is not to sell products to people. It's to help people, facilitate people when they want to buy something for someone else. And that was the genesis of my latest startup, which is called Bond, and we just launched a month ago. So the idea behind Bond is when you want to send someone something really nice and beautiful, but you don't know how to do all of the hard work. How are you going to get all the things that you need to do? What is their address? How do I send them a beautiful package? How do I put it all together? What do I get? Bond's unique technology and user experience is really built around stripping out friction between sending something to someone else. So what do we really do? We allow you to follow up more often. So one of the things that we do is we have a very exclusive robotic technology that actually holds pens and can, in your own handwriting and eventually on your own stationery, write your note for you. You type in the text that you want to communicate from your iPhone or from the website, which will launch. So the iPhone app is available now. You can go and download it right now. The website will be released in the next couple of weeks. And you can send someone a beautiful handwritten note. It comes sealed with wax. And we really want to bring back some of the elements of tradition in addition to technology. We've also made gifting really simple. So we curate some of the best products from around the world. One of our partners is one of the founders at One Kings Lane, a company well known for curating beautiful products. We allow you to never worry about anyone's address because it's one of the biggest things that people find is difficult today's day and age. So all you need to know is someone's phone number or their email address to send them a gift. And we'll be rolling out reminders, so really smart, deep reminders and integrations with your calendar to remind you when is the right time to send someone something. So in the past month, we've seen a lot of really interesting opportunities. We see this business really helping people like yourselves out in the audience, and this is business professionals, people who really want to connect with people. How can you follow up better and more often? We've sold over 1,200 gifts in our first month. We've sent over 7,000 notes. And we're really excited about what the future holds for us. So I wanted to show you a little bit about, this is actually the secret sauce of what we have here. When I say they're written with a fountain pen, these notes are actually written by these machines. You literally just type your note in. And as we begin to personalize it, it can actually take your handwriting and write it for you. So this isn't just a font of your handwriting, it's actually a handwritten element. In many ways, we're taking digital communication and making it real again. So as we endeavor to go down this path, this is the latest business that I'm working on, but I just want to take a second to pause and be like, does anyone have any questions about what we're working on or any of the path here? If not, I'm always open to help however I can. I think for me, my journey has been filled by people helping me and always giving me advice and consideration and introductions where need be. It's been a cornerstone of everything I've been able to achieve. And if there's any way that I can help anybody in the audience, please send me a note. My email address is just Sonny, S-O-N-N-Y, @bondgifts.com, and I'm happy to help out however I can. So thanks. And make sure you download Bond on the App Store and give it a shot. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Sonny. So again, as Megan said earlier, I am Alex Gutler. I actually work here at AppNexus, so excited to have all you guys here in our house. And if you want to know what AppNexus does, we're a real-time bidding platform for digital media. So any of those buzzwords means anything to you, we have 2 AppNexus salespeople who happen to be in the crowd. They'd be happy to talk to you. Anyway, we're going to get started here with the rules of the competition. So we're going to have 5 companies pitching today. They're going to get 6 minutes each. They will each see, if we haven't told you yet, you will see a red card from Sarah down here in the front when you have 1 minute left. And so after the 7th minute, you'll stop. We'll have 3 minutes of questions from our panelists who are going to come up here in a minute. And then After our panelists are taken away to a secret room, we're going to have another company, Yunha and Lockett, come up and present. After that, we're going to have open mic for a couple of minutes. So if anyone wants to come up, I think there are already a couple of you in the crowd who are going to come up. If you feel the need to pitch what you're working on or want to ask for help on a couple things, feel free to come up. After that is done, we'll invite the panelists back up. They will give feedback to the companies that presented earlier. We will announce a winner, and then you guys will all continue networking. So, that being said, we're going to get our panelists up here. Come on, guys. So, a round of applause for our panelists for coming tonight. And rather than tell you who they are, I will let them tell you who they are. And I think these mics should be on. So, Lisa or Chris, feel free to grab and start.
Hi, my name is Lisa Blau. I'm a Duke 97 grad and HBS 2003. I've done various startups, mostly in kind of digital media and e-commerce. The most recent company was a company called Vital Juice, which was an email publisher in the health and wellness space that was acquired by Tasting Table. And I have been doing angel investing in the city, focusing on female founders in digital media and commerce space, invested in the Daily Muse, a Duke company, and Loverly, and several others, Huckster, which also has a Duke grad on it. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cantor. I was Trinity 89 and then Harvard 94. Happy to be here. So I built a company called Brand Connections, which was a targeted media and marketing services company. It helped large national brands to reach consumers in a number of different targeted venues, and sold a piece of that business to a private equity firm in 2006, and then sold the business again to another private equity firm in 2008. Since then, I've been doing seed investing, primarily in the media and marketing area, also in consumer products and services, and happy to be here.
Howard Lerman, co-founder and CEO of Yext. We are a local marketing cloud computing company across the street. We've got about 250 employees on the other side of Shake Shack here. By show of hands, how many of you are entrepreneurs or starting a company? And how many of you, keep your hand up if you went to Duke as well? Okay, I'm like you guys.
My name's Matt Witheiler. I'm with Flybridge Capital Partners, and I'm a Trinity 03 grad and HBS 2008 grad. And at Flybridge, we do early stage technology investing. We've got just about $600 million under management and invest primarily in consumer infrastructure, enterprise IT, and consumer, to some extent, companies. And I'm surprised we've gone this far and not given any congratulations to Duke football, who's now ranked. That's right. We were winless for my 4 years at Duke. We did not win a single game when I was in school, so it is quite the shift.
My name is Chris LaSala. I'm a Fuqua 98 grad. I'm a 15-year veteran of the digital media space, the last 10 with Google. I've held variety of different roles at Google, ranging from working with to develop an agency program when we were first getting started. Developed a local reseller channel where I had the pleasure of meeting Howard and working with him as his company. I think I was the first iteration of Yext, and now he's on to his second iteration of True Entrepreneur. Then as mobile was heating up, I jumped to help build a mobile ad network to compete with AdMob, and we ended up buying AdMob, so that was sort of a fun little twist in my career. Became an acquisition type role, acquisition integration role. And then most recently, I've launched into a new product commercialization effort where I kind of run a team that sits between product and sales and tells product what to build and tells sales how to sell it. So,
Awesome. One more time, round of applause for our panelists. All right, so without further ado, gonna bring up Tom and Jenny from Tom and Jenny's Candy.
Thank you for allowing us to be here today. We're excited to, can everyone see me, hear me? Yes? Okay. My name is Jenny, and I'm an avid lover of candy and chocolates. But I'm also Dr. Jenny. I'm a dentist. And as a dentist growing up, I had my fair share of cavities. I loved Kit Kats and Jawbreakers and sour gummies. Oh, you name it, the list went on. And, excuse me. And now I'm a few years older, but the list only got longer. And so I started thinking, why aren't there mouth-watering treats that are good for teeth? So that's where Tom and Jenny's was born. Delicious dentist-designed candy. And this might sound like an oxymoron, dentists making candy, but I'm here to tell you that this is absolutely necessary, and here's why. So dental disease is the #1 chronic disease affecting both adults and children. Now, I've been practicing for 3 years, treating children in low-income communities and see cavities day in and day out. And we as dentists, how many dentists are here? Okay, absolutely no one, probably playing golf or something. And we love telling our patients, hey, brush twice a day, come back every 6 months, I'm watching. But you know what? Even if you brush twice a day, even if you brush 3 times a day and came back every 6 months like we asked, doesn't mean you've prevented your cavity. Because just as important is what you eat and how often you eat it. So moms and dads are frustrated because they know, hey, most of the stuff we like and our children like seems to cause cavities. And if you notice, even your dentist talks about what you shouldn't eat and what you shouldn't drink. But very seldomly do they say what you should eat, because there truly aren't enough options. So that's what we want to create. We want to create something that's an everyday option to prevent cavities. And the way we're going to do it is with an ingredient called xylitol. Anyone heard of xylitol? Oh, good. Awesome. We love xylitol. So xylitol is an all-natural ingredient that's derived from plants. It's safe to consume. It's extensively researched since the 1970s for its dental benefits. And it reduces the bacteria that cause cavities by up to 70%. So here I had this amazing ingredient that speaks volumes to how much reduction it can cause. And even the ADA, the American Dental Association, supports this as the only sweetener that reduces cavities. And with this ingredient and this vision to start something, make something truly delicious, I went to the kitchen and started cooking up something. But unfortunately, I'm such a bad cook. And everything I cooked up seemed more like something Walter White would have cooked up in Breaking Bad than Willy Wonka. So then I looked to my husband, who truly is so passionate about health and nutrition and loves cooking. So together, we made some great recipes, which I'm going to share to our judges. And anyone else interested, let us know, because we have lots of samples. And now Tommy's going to talk to you about where we're going with this.
So thank you, Jenny. So as Jenny said, this started as sort of a passion project of ours in our kitchen. But pretty soon we took it outside of the kitchen. We've tested the product now with about 150 consumers from all walks of life. You can see some of the feedback we've gotten. It's largely been very, very positive. The one theme that really was gratifying was consumers were not able to tell our candy apart from the sugar candy. So we've done actually blind taste tests with 20 of those consumers to validate that what we were observing in conversations was actually real, and it did bear out. Consumers cannot tell the difference. So we've got delicious candies. What do we want to do with this? Well, one of the things that we heard in these conversations, sort of resoundingly, was you guys are almost creating a new value proposition that it's a new category. People have trouble wrapping their heads around the idea that candy can be good for your teeth. And so we're really foraying into a new space here, and it's going to take education. But let's look at what the opportunity is like. So Americans care about their teeth. We spend a lot on dental services. We spend a lot on dental hygiene. In the functional food space, there's really nothing that tackles oral health, and this is a brand new category. So thinking about how we're going to build this brand, we've got some initial branding complete. We're going to start selling this December. Please come see us at the Long Island City Flea. That's sort of a springboard to then get into some mom and pop shops and eventually launch at a major trade show this coming summer. We do see this as an opportunity to build a whole portfolio into other spaces, such as beverages, such as savory foods. So lots of big markets to climb. Our team, not sure what happened there. Our team, Jenny and I'm a JD MBA from Duke. I'm also a management consultant. Jenny obviously is a dentist. The two of us have built a successful venture in the past. We actually built Nourish International when we were in college, and then beyond, grew that to 45 universities with over 70 international projects. That's my time. Looking forward to questions.
It's good for my teeth, but is it good for me?
Great question. So it is actually, I'll move away from that. So the candy actually is low glycemic index, so it's safe for diabetics. It's low calories, which it's actually about, when we did the calculations with our recipes, we're about 20 to 30% lower calories than your chocolates or caramels on the market today. And it promotes good flora in the gut. So overall, lots of benefits. The low glycemic index, I think, is one of the things that really sets us apart in terms of insulin response in your body, which sugar candies are sort of notorious for creating. So,
and also, just wanted to say, someone mentioned dairy. There is dairy in it, so if you're allergic, please stay away.
Do you, kids like crazy colors and wacky designs, do you have the capability in your technology to be able to do more than, I mean, these are great, especially the chocolate one, but to do more so that kids will really be attracted to it?
Sure, yeah, that's in the works, actually. Good question. We started with caramels and chocolates because they were sort of the easiest proof of concept, and now we're working on colorful, flavorful hard candies, as well as we've been working with a well-known pastry chef who developed a neutral base for us that we can use as a taffy base, so colorful, flavorful. And then longer term, we do have some gummy bear recipes in the works. So we're really excited about our candy.
I'll ask one more if we have time. How do you educate people to understand that candies can be good for you? Everyone has an orientation that candies cause cavities. I mean, that's a big hurdle to overcome. How do you do it?
Sure. Go ahead. So I think one of the big ways that we're going to do this is by incentivizing trialing through dentists' offices, pediatricians' offices. We actually have talked to several of both and have heard a lot of interest in getting products into their offices. The other thing is getting some of these sorts of accolades or sort of voices behind us supporting us, right? So we're starting to talk to mommy bloggers who are big in terms of creating a lot of followership and thought leadership and in food and in diet practices with children, and also working towards eventually an ADA accreditation as a certified product.
It's a lengthy, extensive process, but our goal is to be certified through the ADA or the AAPD, which is the American Association of Pediatric Dentists. So, yes.
Just to make sure I'm keeping up, xylitol, is that a sugar substitute completely, or is it an additive, or?
It's a sugar substitute. So it's actually, even in our own metabolic cycle, we generate about 10 to 15 grams a day. So it's in us, it's in trees, it's in plants, so they extract it from that. And they've been doing this for hundreds of years, but they've researched dental benefits since the 70s. And in Finland, when there was a sugar shortage, everyone in the country started using xylitol, and that's where a lot of the research is based. And so in other countries, it's been around much, much, much longer.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, at time, we're a little over, but thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
wants her candy.
She wants her candy back. All right, thanks, Tommy and Jenny. Next up, we have Durham's very own Aaron Dinan with Rocket Bolt. So please welcome up Aaron Dinan.
Hi, my name is Aaron Dinan. I'm co-founder of Rocket Bolt, and we use real-time rewards to help companies make more money with their websites. Now, making more money with websites is something my co-founder and I have a lot of experience with. You see, I've spent the past decade in the web marketing industry, and my co-founder, Matt Hofstadt, is an award-winning user interface designer. And we've been pretty lucky to work with some great companies, multi-billion-dollar clothing companies, websites getting 5 million plus people per day, and even the occasional television celebrity or two. And as great of opportunities as those are for kind of consulting money, the real opportunity we found is in the very first client Matt and I ever worked on together. Her name is Susan Johnson. She runs a small tour company. It's called the Segway Experience of Chicago. Now, there's two things you guys should know about the Chicago Segway tour industry. First, it is shockingly crowded. And second, a significant portion of Susan's revenue is driven through online ticket sales, meaning her website plays an incredibly important role in helping her make money. So let's talk about all the things Susan needs to worry about right now. It starts with expensive paid advertising, then you've got complex social media, and then incredibly confusing search engine optimization. All told, companies are spending about $50 billion a year across these industries, as well as hundreds of thousands of man-hours. And the real crazy part about these numbers is that after someone like Susan spends tons of time and tons of money getting people to her website, she actually has no guarantee that anyone's going to buy a ticket, so she still has to optimize her website. So that's data and analytics. She'll spend hours every day looking at her data, and of course that's only information, so she still has to act on that. So that's where you get things like A/B testing, optimization, rewards, gamification, loyalty, and about 24 other buzzwords I can't really remember right now. But the point is, after companies are spending $50 billion getting people to their website, it's so inefficient that they're having to spend another $20 billion trying to get more people doing more of what they need. Now, if you happen to be a company with multi-million-dollar monthly advertising budgets, you're in luck because there's plenty of resources out there. They're expensive, they're complex, but there are literally hundreds of them, and they help with kind of each little bit and piece of this larger puzzle. But if you're Susan, or if you're the 10 million companies in this country alone just like Susan, guess what resources you have? The same exact ones. But of course, you have none of the resources, none of the time, none of the staff, none of the employees, and none of the money that those big guys have, which means there's no way you can effectively extract the value. So what if, instead of needing these hundreds of resources, what if you only needed one? That's the opportunity we're going after with Rocket Bolt, a single, simple, flexible solution for the 10 million Susans of this country, the 100 million Susans in this world who want something that's going to get them traffic, increase their user engagement, and get them ultimately more sales. So about a month ago, we launched the first module in Rocket Bolt. We call it our real-time rewards module. It's on over 30 websites right now, and I want to tell you about one of them. The company is called Thundershirts. They're a Durham company, one of Durham's success stories. They do dog clothing. And if you go to Thundershirt right now and you're on the homepage, after a few seconds, a little slider window is going to pop out and it's going to say, hey, like us on Facebook, get free embroidery. It's a $10 value. Now, Thundershirt got to choose what reward they're giving, and they got to choose what action they wanted. In this case, they wanted a Facebook like. So someone clicks that, and a little window pops up, and it says, hey, give us your email address, and we'll send you your reward. And that's it. It's very simple. But in that simplicity is some really amazing benefits. Over the next year, Rocket Bolt is on pace to help Thundershirt collect over 4,000 Facebook likes. The number is actually 5,000 as of our latest metrics. Now, there are entire companies out there designed to do just that. Rocket Bolt is kind of like the tip of the iceberg. Because Rocket Bolt's also going to help Thundershirt collect over 3,200 validated, targeted email addresses. Those are like gold to Thundershirts. There are businesses out there designed to do just that. For Rocket Bolt, it's kind of the icing on the cake, because the real value, it's the value I told you at the very beginning, it's that Rocket Bolt helps companies make more money. Well, over the next year, RocketBolt's on pace to help Thundershirt generate an additional $250,000 in revenue. And as cool as that number is, I got an even better number. It's my favorite number. It's 1 minute. That's the amount of time from start to finish that Thundershirt needed to integrate, activate, and tap into that $250,000 in revenue. So we're pretty excited about what we're doing here. We just got out of the Startup Factory. That's the largest accelerator down in the Southeast. It's right in Durham's American Tobacco campus. We've got a great team of us. There's 3 Duke degrees in there, about 5 masters, a couple PhDs. We've got some amazing advisors, and our goal is to help the 10 million Susans of this country get more value from their website. And one more thing, since it looks like I still have a little more time, you might be wondering, well, what happened to the original Susan? Well, we showed her RocketBolt, and she was thinking about all the time she's had to spend on these things. She immediately saw it, and well, now we're helping Susan too. In fact, we're on pace to generate an additional 15% revenue this year. And the thing I like most about telling Susan RocketBolt was the 3 questions she asked me. I bring them up because they're the same 3 questions I get from just about every company I show RocketBolt to. So I'll mention them here. Question number 1, how quickly can you get this on my website? Well, the answer to that question is less than a minute, which leads to question number 2, and that question is, and what do I have to do once it's on my website? Well, nothing. You set it, you forget it. Which leads to question number 3. It's my favorite question, and I hope it's the question everyone here is thinking right now. Who do I make the check out to? RocketBolt Inc. Thank you very much.
Go to market.
So our go-to-market strategy, well, we're already in market, so that's a big step. But basically, there's 4 main funnels, right? You've got your dial for dollars funnel, which that's just simple math, right? How many you can convert through your, we've got a list of about 500,000 companies out there that we can dial.
Charge?
Oh, so we're about $250 for our base level integration.
Per month?
Per month, subscription model. And then on top of that, we've also, well, we're generating $250,000 in revenue, so we could probably charge more. And then on top of that, you've got, obviously inbound marketing. Big ones are channel partners. So we're already working with companies that have access to 100, 200 websites at a time, as well as things like BigCommerce, Shopify, et cetera.
It seems great once you get a consumer to land, right? So obviously, if you can increase revenue 15% just by that, then Godspeed, go nuts. In your intro, you talked a bit about the complexity of search engine optimization, driving leads to your site, social media. I was expecting to solve all that. It sounds like this optimizes once you get to the site. Is there anything that I'm missing that would help, like eliminate all the other complexity that Susan still has to do?
So that's one. So that's a great question, and I have 2 quick answers for it. One is, so this is our first module, and the way these companies work is you get someone on board, and then you start charging them for more and more services. So those are kind of additional revenue streams. But the other thing, and Matt can attest to this because I pitched my old company to him, we had a very complex model. We had a very Rube Goldberg-esque solution that got people on board, but it was very complex to fund and build. So we simplified it down to this, and even though on the surface you're like, well, that's not helping with search engine optimization, it's not getting you traffic, it's actually exactly what it's doing. Because first of all, things like Facebook likes, Twitter follows, Google Pluses are incredibly important for search. I mean, they're one of the most significant things you can do right now. So here you've got 5,000 people doing it for Susan or for Thundershirt for free. And then on top of that, you've also got things like, when someone advertises to their Facebook network, they're sending it out to all their friends. And of course, their friends have no idea that they were rewarded to do that. So suddenly you're driving new traffic. It's 5,000 new people seeing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so next up we have the team CrowdTunes from Durham, making the Durham bar scene better, one song at a time. It's your new tagline.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having us. I'm Brandon Magsman. This is Lee Kornfeld, and we are CrowdTunes. And our new tagline is making the Durham bar scene better, one song at a time. We're here to make the jukebox fun again. Here's the problem. The problem is that We're all kind of growing increasingly ADD as bar patrons, and bars need new ways to retain us and get as much out of us as they can. One way they do that is through music, but the jukebox hasn't really changed in over 100 years. It's still a dollar-devouring dinosaur in the corner that you hope plays your song at some point in the night, and you get to go. People are changing, though. Obviously, bars need to find new ways to retain us. We want to go social. We want to go mobile. We want to control our environment and impose our songs on our friends to show them how cool we are. And we're not happy with what we currently have with jukeboxes today. So enter CrowdTunes. CrowdTunes is a simple solution that keeps people in your bar drinking longer and spending more money and coming back on more nights. CrowdTunes has two aspects. For patrons, it's easy. You download the app from the App Store. You see what bars are around you. You go to the bar that has CrowdTunes. You log in. You roll in. And then when you get in, you rock out by bidding up your songs. The unique thing here is that this is a marketplace. This isn't a pay $1, get your song in the queue. This is pay bids and see if you can get your song to the highest song in the queue. And it's collective with your friends. So your friends are all bidding, and the collective amount of that song is the total value of the song played. The second piece is the bar. And the bar setup is incredibly easy. Today, you have to go out and buy a $4,000 or so machine to get a jukebox. With us, we literally give you an iPhone, we plug it into your auxiliary input, we hook you up on the TV, and you're going. That's what this is right here. So we created a party for this event. You guys can go play with it if you want to. Download the app, see if you can get your song to the top. But this is a typical display you see in a bar. That's what the picture is of an event we had last Thursday. It shows, here's the queue, here's who's bidding on it, and then you can have some ad space on the right-hand side too, so we're not stealing a whole TV from you. So who cares? Bar owners care, right? They need a way to make the atmosphere better for their patrons and get more money out of them. That's the bottom line. Patrons care. They like to drink and make poor decisions. And the more they drink, the more poor decisions they make. And this is proven. So this isn't just posturing. We've tested this idea now a few times, and what we found was this. This is real stuff, and I apologize for the chart, but what you see here is trials. The red line is a November 14th event that we did, and the blue line is November 6th. November 6th, we crashed our servers. We didn't estimate the demand properly. So we fixed that on the 14th, and what you see is that as the night goes on, right at about, midnight, people are bidding 70 credits per song, which is about $5 per song. They're bidding the same amounts, though. The number of bids are the same, but their credits per song is going up. So we're extracting $5 per song out of people in a very simple process. And if you can imagine it, you get like a group of people over here bidding on Backstreet Boys, and you guys on Miley Cyrus, and you're like fighting and going together, and then you cheer because you get your song won. It creates this frenetic, fun atmosphere that bar owners love. So what we've heard from bar owners is that it's easy to set up. We love it. We want you back. And maybe most flattering, one of our bar owners actually has suggested that he invest with us and fund our company. So our customers are actually trying to help us fund this and get it going. So as you can see, we've also had some success. We've got some revenue. We've proven the use. And now, we really want to kick it into top gear and go forward from there.
So when we look at the competition, there's kind of three buckets that exist today. There's the satellite radios, Pandora and Sirius, not a lot of interaction with the customers. There's TouchTunes, which is a digital jukebox. Essentially put $1 in, your song will play when it gets to the top of the queue. And then there's a group of companies similar to us, Play My Song and Rockbot, that do something similar, but what they don't have is what Brandon talked to, and what really differentiates us is this marketplace for music, being able to collaborate with other people in the bar and bid up songs. And on top of that, we're also gonna add gamification and socialization to make sure that people, as Brandon said, are staying in the bar longer and spending more money. How big is the opportunity? Well, we've validated these numbers both from the tests in the bars, but also in talking to certain experts, including the ex-CEO of TouchTunes. And with about 250,000 bars in the US, those bars playing songs 2 nights a week, 45 songs a night at $1 a song, you're talking about a $1.2 billion market, and that's about $5,000 in revenue a bar. The ex-CEO of TouchTunes actually has it closer to $10,000 a bar. So that kind of aligns with what we've seen thus far, more like $1.70 per song. Our team, we have a wonderful team in the Duke spirit. We've got a JD, we've got an undergrad, we've got people from Fuqua, I'm a double Dookie, and all of us have entrepreneurial experience. We love working together. We've done something like this before, either co-founded, founded, or worked in a startup already, and it's something we're really passionate about doing. And what's next? Well, first, we're going to take the product we have today, which, as Brandon said, is in the App Store. We're going to build a scalable product for iOS that we can really ramp this thing. We're also going to get it on HTML5 and Android. In addition, from a sales and marketing standpoint, we're going to go out and we're going to establish beachheads in specific cities. We think that having scale is really important, and we've got the contacts to go out and do that in certain places, and we're in the process of doing that now in Research Triangle Park. And finally, from a legal and content standpoint, we've already done the research on this. We're going to partner with a content provider that's going to help us figure out how to really scale this thing and sell it nationally. So with that, we'd love to take your questions.
Have you thought about actually giving the thing away for free to bars and then charging consumers and then actually paying the bar owners like a check?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. So one of our differentiators is that we don't charge the bar, and we will give them revenue if they want it. However, in our interviews with bar owners, they're not too stoked about getting a $100 check every month from us. I mean, they like it, but what they like more is the experience and bringing people back to their bar more frequently. They'll take the money, but the value prop really is, through our interviews and things like that, really is on the getting people to bars and having a better time. But it is a free model for the bar. We will not charge them to install it or a monthly fee, which is different from our competitors. And they're set up and ready to go in about 5 minutes.
I'll channel Howard and ask go-to-market, which is, your low projections had you in at 10,000 bars. That's a lot of venues to serve. How do you get into those places?
Yeah, so we're still cracking that nut. As you know, bar owners, and they're hard to get to. They have a lot of requests. There are operators out there. They're kind of the middleman and serve the gaming aspects of bars. So they right now sell the jukeboxes, the pool tables, et cetera. That we can team with them. We've thought about doing things like mobilizing national fraternities, for example, and saying, hey guys, if you can sell this into your bars, we know you spend time there. We'll give you some sort of value, whether that's money or whatever it may be. So right now we think we've got to approach this very geographically and establish a bulkhead and really get markets that we own to get that sort of network effect. And the way we do that, again, we're testing it either through these distributors, the operators, kind of guerrilla sales, if you will, refer a friend, refer a bar, et cetera.
Have you thought about how big these venues have to be in order to have a robust enough bidding? Because I imagine if you get into smaller venues, you just don't have the number of people who are going to create an active market.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And we thought about this, and again, with some of the conversations we've had, when we think about how big the bar would be, certainly our target bar is larger, exactly for what you're saying, having enough people to really create this marketplace. But what's unique is we can also go into these smaller venues. Today, TouchTunes being the big player in the market, they won't go into these smaller venues because they're taking up a lot of space. And we're literally just putting an iPod in there in the back that's plugged into the stereo system. And if there aren't a lot of people bidding on it, that's still okay. Because if we're doing a profit-sharing model, right, I mean, we're still creating value for the bar and revenue for ourselves as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. So next up, we have Chandra Jacobs with TripGEN.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Chandra Jacobs, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of TripGEN. And like many of you, I'm sure, I love to travel, but I hate airports. And that's why I founded TripGEN, not only to help airports put in better content that you'll actually enjoy frequenting and spending money at, an experience more like a mall, but also by helping vendors and airports connect with the traveler and send targeted deals and recommendations their way. So let's talk about the team. So we have 4 people on our team. Again, I'm Chandra Jacobs, I'm the CEO and the co-founder, and I'm a Duke alum, Trinity 04. And we're passionate about 3 things. We're passionate about travel, having all been avid travelers and business travelers for the majority of our business careers. Technology, and not just using technology, but applying it to solve real business problems. And finally, using analytics to customize and personalize the products that we create. Not only that, but we're fortunate enough to have a great advisory board. We have the co-founder of SkyMall on our board, as well as the CEO and founder of a large software development company. Not only is our team excellent, but we're solving a real problem, and it's a two-sided problem. As I mentioned before, airports suck. It's really easy to understand the problem from the traveler's perspective. Airports today don't currently have content that we actually want to go to. Why can't airports be more like malls, serving up interesting shops and restaurants where we want to spend money at that maybe reflect the local culture and the brand of the city? All the while, having museum-quality art exhibits and learning opportunities sprinkled throughout, so you feel like you're actually experiencing an airport. And that brings us to this airport as a destination concept, or an airport 2.0, and this is my big vision. This is where I want airports to get to. And this is starting to change. Airports are starting to do this, especially in international airports. A lot of you travel overseas. You've probably seen this starting to happen in Schiphol in Dubai, and London Heathrow, and Changi in Singapore. It's happening. We're a little farther behind in the US, but we're starting to catch up. And TripChi is going to be the technology platform in place to make this new and interesting content available and discoverable by you through an easy-to-use mobile app. But there's another problem. Brands in the airports have trouble engaging passengers. 35% of people in the airport have trouble finding what they need. 21% of people in the airport don't make any purchases. There's a lot of money being left on the table right there. So that's where TripChi comes in. We're connecting the dots between what the passenger demands and what the vendors can offer them. So we're creating this targeted marketing platform where now vendors can do targeted, contextually driven campaigns at specific sets of customers, measure the efficacy of those campaigns, and then feed the analytics all the way through to end up putting better content into stores, content that you want, and better stores into airports, so that you'll actually want to go to the airport, and it'll be an airport 2.0 or an airport as a destination. So as I mentioned, it's a two-sided model. For consumers, we have an easy-to-use mobile app, and it's a recommendation service. So it gives you ideas of things to do while you're waiting. And I'll give you guys a demo in a few minutes. On the partner side, on the B2B side, and this is where our revenue comes from, we're a platform for third parties to extend their airport verticals. That means airports and airport stakeholders, property management companies, and vendors in the airport, as well as travel providers who just want to target airport passengers as the anchor to the travel journey. We also serve up our data as a service and make that available through sort of a licensing model. And we have a couple different white label products as well for airports, both just a mobile app for airports as well as a loyalty app for airports. Let's talk about our customer. On the passenger side, we're looking at two groups. A group of 400 million people, which is the frequent business traveler. This is someone who travels more than 4 times a year. Raise your hand if you've traveled more than 4 times a year this year. That's everybody. You are exactly square in my demographic. The other very interesting subset of this is a 50 million strong group of the Gen Y business travelers. And they're interesting because unlike maybe most of you who want to go to the airport and see your pain minimized and your agony level reduced, they want to go one step further. They want to increase and maximize their enjoyment, not just reduce their pain. And so this group is going to be one of our first adopters, our early adopters in adopting this technology. Now on the B2B side, I mentioned airports, property management companies who manage the vendors in the airports and the vendors in the airports themselves, as well as third-party travel providers. How are we going to reach them or go to market? Well, we've already done a lot through content marketing and blogging and the usual suspects on social media, especially Twitter and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is big for the business traveler community, believe it or not. We've also launched an Indiegogo campaign, which is running right now, where we're trying to raise $10,000, and we're doing quite well. And we have a private beta that works at Boston Logan currently. Now on the B2B side, we're doing direct sales, and we're becoming discoverable and visible through conferences. On both sides, we're of course optimizing our website and our blog. We're working with partners to send out emails, getting our brand out there. And we're working with Concur, which is a mega travel itinerary and expense management company, so that we'll be on their app store and we'll be discoverable to 20 million business travelers worldwide when we're on the app store. And we'll be able to have our data be leveraged by hundreds of app store customers on the B2B side. Our business model is it's free for travelers, and Of course, that means the revenue is coming from business partners, so the white label solution, subscription model for vendors and property management companies, as well as pay-to-play, sponsored but good recommendations, similar to the Google model. So let's do the demo. Can you guys switch it over here? Okay, so this is our Boston Logan prototype. It's currently functional. It's what we call our private beta, but it only works at Boston Logan. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually log in, and it's a single sign-on through Facebook, LinkedIn, or TripIt. And now, if you log in through TripIt, that's great, because we'll get all your flight information bubbled and pre-populated right into the app. If you don't have TripIt, that's okay. You can still fill out your flight information here. Well, it's not sensing it, but there's flight information that gets filled out, a countdown timer, and then you go in, you can look at your real-time personalized recommendations. If there's a deal or offer, it'll show up when you go in and drill down for more details. And please see me after for a more in-depth demo. Can you switch back to the slides, please? All right, so the one ask is go to our TripChi Indiegogo campaign, and if this message of making the airport experience less bad resonates with you, please donate. We'd love your support. Thank you. Questions?
Sure, you may not have been able to cover it, but can you talk about how big the opportunity is?
So it's about a $3 billion market. 75% of the people in our demographic spend $14. So on the airport side, there's hundreds of airports we'd want to target. And the most interesting piece is we want to scale from just airports to malls. That actually opens up the opportunity space to tens of thousands of venues, especially partnering with these property management companies like Westfield, which also have property management in place in many malls throughout the world.
I wasn't perfectly clear on the revenue model, right? So the value proposition seemed to be to the property management vendors to essentially drive people to use their services more.
Yeah.
How does that translate into why would I do that? What's the revenue opportunity for me? For me is the property manager, and then how does that translate back to you, service fees?
So basically, there's a lot of untapped revenue at the airport. People go directly from security to their gate. They see some stores, they don't necessarily go. They go to their gate, and that's their anchor, and they typically don't leave. So what if there was a way to figure out the types of interests people have and send them push marketing recommendations of things they can do when they have those 2 hours, when they're sitting captive in an airport, using their company's expense card, and doing things they would already like. So that's the whole idea. So if you're Legal Seafoods, and especially if maybe you know that there's a dead time between 2 and 5 p.m. and there's nobody in your store, what if you could send a contextually targeted ad to someone on the other side who has the TripChi app, who can receive that ad, would want to take advantage of it, and then maybe go into Legal Seafood for a free appetizer with the purchase of an entree. So it's driving the digital traffic into foot traffic, essentially.
And then
we're charging them for that.
How do you make money on that?
We make money on both the recommendations, so the ads that are in the app, as well as the subscription service and the analytics side. Was that the last one? Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Chandra. So last up, we have Alex Brown from Durham, who is currently a sophomore. So big round of applause. Senior, he just went up 2 years. All right.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Brown. I'm currently a senior at Duke, and I'm the founder of Turnout. We provide real-time demographic data about your visitors. Online customers want to find what they're looking for fast. And any second that they spend trying to find it increases the chances that they're going to leave your site and go look somewhere else. On the flip side of that, e-commerce companies want to minimize on their lost opportunities and try to decrease their bounce rate as much as possible. One very effective way to do that is with website personalization. So the idea is changing the content of your page to match each individual visitor. Turnout is an API for real-time demographic data. So for every visitor that comes to your site, we can tell you their age, gender, an estimate of their income, their location, and even more. The idea is that e-commerce sites can use this information to actually modify the content of the page dynamically. So let's look at a specific example. Meet Jane. Jane is a student at Duke, and she's looking to find some Duke-branded clothing. So she goes online and she Googles for college apparel, and she clicks on the first result. This is what she sees. This is a website called Fans Edge, and right off the bat, when Jane sees this site, she's thinking, this is not the right place for me. There's a lot of football gear, stuff that's clearly marketed towards men, and the Duke logo isn't anywhere to be found. This is what the site could look like with the power of turnout. Now when Jane visits the site, we can tell Fans Edge that she's a female and that she's from Duke University, and they can use that information to show her relevant products. So now Jane's happy because she can find what she's looking for faster, and of course Fans Edge is happy because they're more likely to make a sale. Our target customer is a large e-commerce site, somebody that sells to a lot of different demographic segments, and also someone who's demonstrated interest in optimization techniques and has money to spend on it. In terms of competition, there's a few different companies offering website personalization as a service. The one that stands out is Monetate. They're doing the best. They're also the only one out of this group that is using demographic data as part of their offering. What differentiates us from Monetate is that they're very locked in the desktop world right now. They have a full-fledged software solution that works on the desktop web, whereas our approach is more flexible. Because we're an API, we can be used for mobile, wearable computing, and any other internet portal devices that may come in the future. We'll also have more of an opportunity to work with our early customers and figure out a product solution that works best for them. Selling to large e-commerce sites can be difficult, especially at first when I don't have a lot of case studies. So in order to counter that, we're going to use channel partners. First, we're approaching optimization consultants. So these are people that consult for large companies and try to tell them how they can increase their conversion rates. We're also going to try to develop plugins and partnerships with content management systems, so things like Shopify and WordPress. We're going to do a tiered pricing model based on the number of requests. We're thinking about starting at $100 a month. There's some wiggle room there, obviously. We're going to have a final tier available for the largest of the large customers to do contracts. And of course, there's going to be a kickback, some commission for our channel partners in the beginning. The channel partners are really more of a first step. Once we have case studies and enough of a customer base, we actually phase them out, hire a full-time sales team, and start to sell to these sites directly. So we've already talked to around 50 e-commerce sites to get an idea of what the good target market is and what exactly our product should be. I've developed a working prototype that does geolocation. It's written using Redis and Go. Right now, we can tell you somebody's location accurate within 5 to 10 miles. Within 100 milliseconds if you're in the United States. Our goal is to have an MVP finished in about 2 months, and I'll be moving to the Bay Area to work on this full-time after I graduate. Like I said, I'm a senior at Duke. I'm double majoring in electrical engineering and computer science. I have about 3.5 years of programming experience. That's full stack experience, so I can do the front end, the back end, everything in between. I have about 3 years of startup experience, and that includes working for smaller startups and also giving it a go on my own. And the reason that I'm really passionate about this idea is that I'm obsessed with optimization. And this is cool because there's a technical optimization component. We're trying to get the best performance that we can out of the servers, which I really like. And we're also trying to optimize the e-commerce sites themselves to try and make them as effective as they can possibly be. So that's what I've got. I'm not looking for investment today, but I am looking for potential partners. Ideally, I'm looking for one technical co-founder and one business and marketing co-founder. I'm also looking for feedback and advice. Thank you.
Alex, I think it's a great idea. Question on the content. Does it require, for you to do this, does it require that you take over the CMS of the e-commerce provider?
Take over isn't really the right word. I would say integrate. So if we were developing a plugin for Shopify, for example, they already have a lot of great tools that allow you to design your own pages. So one way we could integrate is to allow you to design several different pages and then sort of have a decision tree. So you could say, if the visitor is female, show them this page. If they're from whatever location, show them this page.
From what I understand, Monetate and Rich Relevance and guys like this have been doing this on the web for a long time and are having trouble in mobile, particularly because of the lack of cookie data. And so you don't know sex, you don't know demographic. You can figure out age, but you can't figure out a lot of the other stuff you can on web. So how do you solve that on mobile?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We're actually not using any cookies at all. What we're doing is using things like IP address, email address, the user agent, which is all passed along to the server, and doing our lookups on that. Yeah, one thing about cookies is third-party cookies are phasing out all over the place. So a lot of these companies that have built their user tracking on cookies are having to rethink their strategy. We're not going to have that problem.
And what do you have or will be developing that's proprietary? In other words, this data that you're going to be aggregating, I'm assuming anybody could aggregate the data. So what will you have that's unique ultimately?
Our biggest innovation is the ability to get you the data fast. So we have a really intelligent architecture built with the latest technology that can get you, if you're using AWS, we can get you the data within 5 or 6 milliseconds, which could potentially blow away what other people can do. Okay, is that it? Thanks, guys.
Great. So we're going to sequester the panelists, and you, the audience, can now vote for your favorite. So pull out your cell phones and get ready to text for your favorite team here. And just to tee up what's going to happen next, we're going to vote. We're going to reveal the audience choice winner. And then we're going to have Yoonha Kim, a Duke alum, give a showcase presentation on her startup Locket. And then after that, we're going to have an open mic series here. We've already got about 5 folks signed up to give 1-minute pitches to y'all. And then we're going to bring the panelists back to announce their winner and give feedback. So that's what's about to happen right now. All right, let's see a show of hands for turnout. 1, 2, 3. Keep them up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And we have 23 votes. The winner's turnout. Congratulations. Second place was Rocket Bolt. Third place, Tom and Jenny's Candy Company. Next up is our next showcase presenter, Yoonha Kim of Locket.
Hello, my name is Yoonha. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Locket. So Locket is a mobile app company that is transforming the lock screen. Next slide, please. Oh, before. So we check our phone about 110 times throughout the day. And if you multiply that number by 71 million, which is the number of Android users in the US today, that's, next slide, please. 8.9 billion glances on the lock screen every single day in the US. And that's only for Androids. Next slide. So here, Locket is here to change all about those glances. The Locket app today, which is available on Google Play Store, it's an app that you download, and instead of your standard default lock screen, which is usually a picture of a daisy or a pond, we will give you a dynamic picture. It could be, just cool stuff from fancy.com. It could also be just weather of the day, whether you're in San Francisco and New York, it will change. Also, it can be sports. If you're a Red Sox fan, you want to know whether Red Sox is winning today or not. Also, some quotes of the day, some of these things that can inspire and delight you. And we also do advertising on the lock screen, and these are not the standard advertising that we see today on mobile. They're not the banner ads that you're used to. These are beautiful, inspiring advertisement. So it could be, we might recommend you an app of the day. And for this one, it's a hotel tonight. The next one can be movie discovery. We can show you a movie trailer off of the lock screen. And lastly, it can be just brands. And we've seen some great results. Actually, one of the highest up in the industry. So we've launched about at the end of this month, at the end of July, and we've grown very fast. We have about 400,000 users using this app today, and we are delivering over 20 million impressions on a daily basis. Next screen, please. We're working with these brands, and after we launch our app, a lot of app developers have been reaching out to us saying, hey, can I use your SDK so that I can deliver my own content to my own users? So for instance, companies like Netflix can deliver up-and-coming movie ads or up-and-coming movie content on the lock screen. Angry Birds can show you the leaderboard of the day saying, hey, you're number 3 today. Swipe left, which deep links into an app, and play more. And we can also show you, sports scorecard on lock screen. Next screen, please. So we've now opened up our SDK so that all these app developers can utilize our SDK and deliver their own content to their own users' lock screen. And it's much better than the standard push notifications we get. We probably get about 20, 30 push notifications. And on Android, you would always have to swipe down to see all these notifications, but you never ever click on them. So it's a great way for app developers whose one of the 2 concerns are, 1, how do I acquire more users? 2 is how can I re-engage those users? It's a great way to re-engage those users with a great imagery. So Locket is a team of 2 Duke grads and about 9 other people. We started, when we first started, that was in March of this year. I was, after graduating from Duke in 2011, I started off as an investment banker, and partly because I didn't know what I was doing. So I think I did internship at the United Nations in college, as well as at McKinsey, dreaming to be a consultant. And after graduation, I thought everybody was going into banking that I knew of. So I joined them, and on 8th month, this was the idea that I had one day. Why isn't anybody using the lock screen? That was March of this year, and I did some modeling on the CPM and on how many users there are, impressions, and realized that this is a huge market. And so I persuaded my other co-founder, Paul, who's also a Duke grad. He graduated in 2011 with. To do this together. Initially, he did not want to because he had a great job down in Charlotte, unlike me. And so I flew down there, and I persuaded his boss to invest in the company. And that gave him feel less guilty about leaving the company. So 2 of us started with some 3 other people. And when we first quit our job, I don't think I thought this through in terms of that we won't get salary and that I won't be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in New York. So we all moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. So it was me and 4 other guys and and 3 dogs and 1 hamster. So we all moved into a 2-bedroom apartment here in Hell's Kitchen area. So we had 1 bedroom where we had 2 bunk beds. So there were 4 guys living there, and since I was the only girl, I got to have my own lucky room. So we started like that, and we had to cut down our meal cost to $2 per person. So we went to Costco and started eating on pizzas and hot dogs, and that was pretty much a big step down from sushi that I got from banking. And we were really lucky to get. So we got connected to this Duke alumni that was working in finance. And he was working at a VC. His company was a late-stage VC. And I don't know, that we would be raising any money from VC. But he was like, oh, hey, go talk to these guys at Great Oaks. And that just happened one day. And I just went to talk to them. It was the first VC pitch in life. And that ended up going really well. And actually, that day, they called us saying that they wanted to invest. So we closed that round within 3 days of fundraising, and that was 1 month into the project in April of this year. And so that helped us get up to, I think, chicken over rice, so much better food and lifestyle. So we were able to hire a designer and a developer, and we started like that. And not I didn't have any background in advertising or mobile or in startups, so we really didn't know what we were doing, So the first thing that I did was Duke Alumni Connect. So if you go to Duke Alumni website, there's a Duke Connect. I started putting in, since we're an advertising business, putting in everybody that's in mobile or marketing, or so it was anybody in the VP of marketing, brand manager, CMOs. I was trying to persuade them on the phone that they should advertise on this lock screen. and nobody wanted to because we didn't have any user, we weren't launched. And I think it was like right before we launched, which was in July, that I got connected to this guy, the CMO of Sears, who was a Duke alumni. He said, no, like I don't want to advertise because you guys don't have 1 million users that we were looking for. He gave us one chance for free advertisement. So I think we kind of begged him to kind of just give us the Sears name. And with that, we started. When we first launched, our goal was getting 10,000 users within a month, just to prove to us that there are people that want to download this app. And we ended up hitting that number within 10 hours of launch. So we were going very quickly. On the second day, we had 25,000 users, delivering over 2 million impressions, and we needed to show more ads. And some of the emails that blast that I sent out using Duke Alumni Connect in March, I was still getting replies from some of these alumni, and one of them was a brand manager at Hershey's. So Hershey's became one of our client, and they're the biggest client that we have. They're purchasing again and again from us. So now we're a team of about 13 offices in New York with our sales team here, and engineering office in San Francisco. So we're continuing to grow, and I think the moral of the story, is that we have a great alumni network. I've never seen an alumni network like Duke. We've had we have team members that went to Brown, NYU, Princeton in the past or still now. And our job on the day of when they first join is, hey, really leverage your alumni network. Go into your Duke Connect or whatever is equivalent for you guys, and start reaching out to brand managers or anybody that could be helpful for us. And we haven't seen any result like this from other schools. So I think I'm really grateful for the network we have here. And so that's that. And then maybe next slide. For those of you guys that have Androids, please download Locket on Google Play Store. We're there. And for those of you who are app developers and you want to use the lock screen SDK, please let us know. You can email me, or you can check us out there at developers.getlocket.com. And also for those of you that are either thinking about starting a startup or doing that sometime in the near future, we have a great network here that are more than willing to help. So if I could be helpful, please reach out. I'll be happy to do that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, now's the time we're going to hear the open mic session. We've got 4 or 5 companies lined up, and they're going to talk to you for 2 minutes. So the first company, Tito, are you here? Tito Bort, here he comes. Tito is about to graduate, and he's going to talk to us about Salesforce.
Hey, all. My name is Tito Bort. I'm a senior right now at Duke, and I want to tell you about a company I started. Thanks. There's 3 million people in the U.S. working in telemarketing, sales, and customer service. And the reason they are working from the U.S. is because there's a backlash against outsourcing. U.S. companies don't want to go to India or Philippines because their customers get pissed when someone with a thick accent like mine picks up the phone. So they decide to have their U.S. employees working from the U.S. What I realized is, and what Salesforce does, is we put those U.S. employees on a plane and we send them down to Costa Rica, and they still work on the same jobs, same hours, serving the same customers, but the weekends are a lot of fun. These guys are going bungee jumping, whitewater rafting, rock climbing. So it's a great value proposition for the employees. For the company, it's great too, because the lower cost of living allows us to get them a better return on investment. So we've been working with the ShareFile division at Citrix, again, a Duke alum, and 30% better ROI, stoked employees, and I'm happy because we're making money. So thank you all, and we're looking for connections and probably a second customer. Thanks.
Thanks, Tito. Come on up. Next up, we have Talent Wind. We have Ajay Karapat.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ajay Karipot, and I'm class of 2006 FICWA. A background about myself, I am a software engineer. I actually was a product manager before going to B school. After B school, I did 3 years of management consulting and venture capitalist, and then actually have been in education industry for the last few years. Apart from my work, I also assisted in starting an MBA school in India, which is actually functional from 2011. There's a new charter school which I started in Jersey City with a couple of my friends. It's also operational this year. The one I wanted to pitch now is about a platform which another FICWA mate of mine is also working, called Vivek. It's Talentwind, and the purpose is connecting employees and the candidates and employers. We actually have a platform which has a couple of features, and it's on www.talentwind.com. The features which we are providing right now is profile creation, social media recruiting, and a couple of them. What I'm looking right now is 3 things. One is basically advisors for our firm. 2 is any type of fundraising or help in that, and 3rd is developers. It's so hard to find developers, so if anybody has experience in Ruby on Rails or would like to be part of it, please contact. Thank you.
Thanks, Ajay. It turns out it's really hard to talk for 1 minute. So next we have Nancy Fechnay from College Feed Ventures.
Come on, Reed, it's Duke College Feed Ventures. Okay, hi guys. I'm actually a current student at Duke right now. I'm getting my MEM and my MBA. I'm in my 3rd year. And I'm here tonight to talk to you guys about Duke College Feed Ventures. It's a student-run organization that capitalizes off of Duke students' passion for entrepreneurship and early-stage investing, as well as all of the promising startups coming out of the Research Triangle Park area. Basically, what we've done is we've put in place a training program that allows students to learn about deal sourcing and due diligence, and then ask them to take that training experience and put it into the real world. By working for a network of advisors and early stage investors to deal source within the Research Triangle Park and actually write due diligence reports and send these to our network of advisors. And just before I jumped on stage, Reed gave me a piece of advice that said, end with an ask. So what I'm looking for right now is I'm building out our advisory board. I have a couple of our investors already interested, but if you're an investor and you're interested, or if you're an entrepreneur and want to help get us connected, we're looking for passionate alumni to help us get the program off the ground. Thanks.
I usually don't have to be reminded to talk about Duke. So here we have Kurt Rote from Western Oncolytics.
Hi. Everyone still awake? All right, good. All right, so my name's Kurt. My company is Western Oncolytics, and we cure cancer. So specifically, it's a genetically modified virus that only infects cancer cells. And so proof of concept in this field was a couple years ago. Company had successful clinical trials with this strategy, sold it to Amgen for $1 billion. That gentleman has come on as an informal advisor with my company. I spent about a year traveling to every major institution in the US, tracking everything down through the NIH, going through everything on PubMed, reading every patent. And I think I found the best available technology. I partnered with the inventor, Dr. Stephen Thorne out of the University of Pittsburgh. And we need money, basically, to prove this into clinical trials before we partner with a pharmaceutical company to deliver it to patients in need. The end goal is to save the lives of tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people a year in the US alone, globally, perhaps millions. And I'm thinking maybe $10 million can turn into $1 billion in about 6 years. Thanks.
Thanks, Kurt. So I think our judges are just about done, so we have one more open mic presentation. Squat up, William Litvak. Yep. Can you jump? There you go. Stand up here so you don't get the...
How's everyone doing? Oh, good. So I started Squat Up in 2012 with 3 of my former classmates from Duke. We started Squat Up to solve a problem that we'd encountered countless times while in college. The second you start hosting an event, you're inheriting a variety of logistical problems. You have to reach your guests, send invitations, track RSVPs, act as the central point of communication for all the event details. So, let's say you have a venue change, it starts raining, it's your responsibility to text, email, get in touch with all your friends. The other side of problems that you can deal with are money or funding problems. We've all been there. You're trying to collect money from your guests. It's a huge pain. How do you do it? When do you do it? What do you do for guests that are paying different amounts? What do you do for your buddy that arrives with that magically unbreakable $20 or $50 bill? All these became a massive, massive pain in college, so we decided to build a platform that solved all these issues simply and socially, and in a way that was branded and marketed more towards the millennial demographic. So far, we're on 40 plus campuses. We have a brand ambassador program of more than 250 students. We've processed almost $100,000 in transactions, and more than 5,000 people have attended Squad Up events so far.
What do you need?
Support, advice, customers, and money.
Okay, so we're done, and now we're going to hear the judges, and I'm going to turn the MC over here.
All right, so we have reconvened the panelists, and they have feedback on each of the teams. The way this will work is that each panelist will give feedback, or one panelist will give feedback on each team. And the way that it'll work, we'll start with Howie, who will kick us off, and then we'll end with Chris, who will give feedback on the winning team tonight.
Cool. Is Chandra here? Where's Chandra? From TripChi? Did we lose Chandra? Chandra, come here. I'm going to give you some feedback. Okay. So, how are you doing? I am really excited to give you this feedback. I'm a huge believer in the opportunity to use mobile to show real-time offers or messages based off where somebody is. And whether that's in an airport or whether that's in a shopping mall, I think that the avalanche that we're seeing in connected devices and mobile devices puts what your vision is in an incredible opportunity. And by the way, $400 billion a year of commerce happens online, $6 trillion a year happens offline. So you're in a market that's 15 times bigger than anything that happens online. My feedback for you is this. There's a lot of structural things that have to fall your way in order for your vision to be realized. So consumer has to download your app. You have to line up brands in places. Increasingly, you're going to have to get physical devices within the venues to actually be able to because GPS doesn't really work that well inside. So Apple's iBeacon you're going to have to use, or you're going to have to use wireless sensors to be able to detect someone's phone and then show them an offer based on where you are. And so the best way that you can make that happen is if you maybe broaden what you want to do in terms of revolutionizing indoor marketing to not just be for an airport, but to be in any venue, whether it's the Mets Stadium, whether it's a shopping mall, whether it's outside in a park, because those structural things fall to your advantage. If you happen to sign up a brand, let's take Louis Vuitton, that isn't just in the airport, but they're also in the mall, they're also in the park, and so that brand can get their message locally based on where someone is, and they might install your physical hardware, and they may be able to do stuff. So my feedback to you is basically, I think you'll have to move beyond the travel vertical to seize what I believe to be a bigger opportunity to get people to download your app and to get them to have some sort of digital experience with you that goes just beyond travel. Because it's not just travel that sucks, it's not just airport that sucks. There's a bigger opportunity in other places to make that happen. Also, when you pitch, and I pitch all the time, you always do your demo first. Always do your demo first. Then you can get to the slides after you do the demo. I've been pitching companies since I was about the age of that last kid, the last Alex Brown. I've been pitching kids since I was about Alex Brown's age. And what I'll tell you is that you do your demo first, and then from there, everyone understands what you do, and then you can explain the concepts behind it. But great job, big market, good luck.
Next up is CrowdTunes. Thank you guys very much. I mean, what could go wrong with this? You've got music, you've got bars, you've got you guys as the team, alcohol. It's great. No, we thought it was a great idea, and in particular, what we liked about it was that you are you're taking and you really brought it up yourselves, which is a traditional business, a tired business, and you're completely reinventing it. So there's clearly an opportunity to disrupt what currently exists. We like that a lot. We like that it's a big opportunity. I mean, when you think about, the number of bars that are out there for you to capitalize on, it's great. On the other hand, in order for you to scale, you have some significant challenges, right? You not only have to get all of these consumers to adopt the app, you also have to aggregate all of these different bars and venues. And then even after that, you have another layer of complexity and scaling because you have to create density within those bars. In other words, enough consumers to create a viable market, a viable bidding market within any bar. So, that's a challenge in thinking how are you going to create the scale to make this viable. In terms of the acquisition of venues, and I can recall, from my own experience when I had an advertising business in bars, it's, even if you're giving something away for free, I found that bar owners always want a piece of the action. And so you may want to think about structuring your model in a way so that you are paying them something, because again, to the extent that you need to acquire a lot of these venues quickly, it'll help you. The other comment that the team had was that, to make it easier for consumers to participate in this, it might be best if you had some kind of a QR code so that it was easy for them to, as they're walking in, to immediately scan something so that they don't have to download the app and basically sign in manually. Anyway, congratulations. It was a pleasure having you.
All right, next up is Aaron from Rocketbolt. Come on up. Congratulations. I think the general feedback was super positive, both on kind of the business opportunity you're chasing, 10 million small businesses, local small businesses in the United States, significantly more internationally. Your pitch style was great. You were, I would argue, the most polished of kind of all the presenters who were up here around delivery and around slides and around articulating exactly what you do and how you do it. So huge credit to you from that perspective. I think the judges particularly struggled with go-to-market and kind of customer acquisition in this space, which is obviously really difficult, especially when you combine that with your price point of $250 a month, which is really high when you think about what existing small businesses pay for lots of marketing and other services they provide today. Yes, you have an instance with a retailer who's able to track $250,000 more in sales, but not every retailer is going to follow that model. And therefore, we think from a pricing perspective, the barrier is potentially too high for at least your initial product that you developed. But overall, great pitch, great presentation, interesting business opportunity, and some refinement around go-to-market that you could benefit from going forward. But great job.
All right, next up are the candy guys. So I think I got you because I'm your target customer. I'm the mother of 3 candy-eating little monsters. And so, I think it was very clear to me that there's a huge opportunity. I think in the candy space, no one's done this. I think people have tried to do it. It hasn't tasted good. Fortunately, I was also the one with the allergy, so I couldn't sample the candy. But clearly, product is huge. I would keep allergies in mind, mostly nut. To create a product that kids could have in school, have on play dates, all that type of thing, allergies is a huge sensitivity point. But I do think there's the opportunity essentially to be like what vitamin water did for beverages, someone needs to do in the candy space. So I think it's about the quality of the product. Will kids like it? So does that mean, does it taste good? And will it be packaged in a way that's enticing to them? And then on the mom side of it, is it safe? Is it healthy? And will the packaging communicate that to me? And where can I find it? So I think in addition to being really healthy for your teeth, the things that I think a lot of moms care about now are, is it organic, non-toxic, kind of getting that whole foods message into the product as well, and to think about how you're, reaching the consumer. So, pediatricians and dentists is like a good first start, but I think the mommy network really needs to be tapped into. There needs to be somewhat of a, it doesn't quite apply the same here as it did in the drinking thing, but the cool factor of a lot of other kids are eating this and it becomes more appetizing. So it's not just like my doctor told me to eat this. Even considering ways to explore partnerships with places like Dylan's Candy Bar, where you create a whole new, section in the store for this type of product. But I think there's huge opportunity. I definitely wish you the best of luck because I need it for my own kids. So, yeah. Okay, great.
And Jenny, had you left the bowl of candy on the table, you might have won. I'm just kidding. Alex, come on up. Congratulations. Great, thank you. The reason that we, by the way, was not an easy decision, but the reason that we chose you, Alex, was that the market that you're approaching is ripe with opportunity. I mean, you hit on really all of the big trends. You're going after e-commerce, which is exploding, set to explode. You're doing it in a way that's talking about big data, audience targeting, personalization, which is increasingly becoming more and more possible with the advent of technology that's happening in ads and happening in content as well. And you're trying to focus on specific ads targeting personalization. So because, the way all those things line up, there's massive opportunity. Now with that opportunity, you're not the first person that has seen that opportunity is going after it. So the challenges will be in the competition that you'll face. There are companies out there that are doing exactly what you're trying to do today. There's companies out there that want to do that. So big data is not new, and you'll face a lot of competition. The opportunity, and perhaps which is a really unique opportunity for you sort of about to start this full time, is that they're doing this well, and they're doing this, invested a lot on the desktop. No one's quite figured it out with mobile yet. So we talked a little bit about that, and one of the fellow panelists asked you a question about that. You seem to have already thought about this, and you're ready to sort of approach it and attack it. So there's potentially an opportunity for someone to come in and innovate while everyone else is worrying about the desktop to get it done on mobile. So that's, I think, something you should think about. I think, and last and not least, there was universal confidence in your abilities. Your clear passion for what it is you were trying to do, your technical expertise, your education, and the fact that you are committed to doing this gave the panelists a lot of confidence in you. You may not actually win on this idea because the competition is so tough, but there's confidence that you'll win in something related to it. So with that, I would congratulate you and all of the fellow presenters. Great.
Thank you so much. And before we adjourn, we just want to take a quick picture. We usually take a quick picture with the winner, with all of the panelists. So if you all don't mind coming up, organizers too, Alex,